Hi, I'm Captain Kate Gregory, the Commanding Officer of Brighton Congress Hall in the United Kingdom and Ireland Territory, and together we're reading Day by Day, A Call to Mission by Robert Street. Today, Costly Compassion. A call to costly compassion. We must defend others, seek justice, express generosity, and participate in redemptive actions. When we accept the call to follow Jesus, we are aligning ourselves with the clearest example of costly compassion. Instances of Jesus showing compassion are spread out throughout the Gospels. They are well documented, touching and healing lepers, restoring life, sight, hearing and mobility, and bringing hope to others whose good health had long ago seemed to have disappeared for good. Jesus also made a habit of helping others who were disadvantaged socially or who had been marginalized. This becoming fully involved, showing he wasn't acting simply to give lessons in how to care. He was expressing the heart of God. The passion with which he defended those who had no voice, rebuking the uncaring and putting his own honour or reputation at risk, revealed a God who likes to be defined by costly compassion. His defence of the woman caught in adultery, the prostitute who expressed her gratitude to him in extravagant, some thought scandalous terms, and his readiness to rebuke religious leaders and others for their showy, uncaring attitudes, meant that he lost the support of those in power. But his involvement and compassion for such as the loose-living Samaritan woman, the rich, thieving Zacchaeus, and blind Bartimaeus, who the crowd had told to be quiet, tells us that he saw possibilities for good in those considered the worst, and that he would put their need before his own reputation. These are lessons the Church needs to remember in the 21st century. The army knows it was born to embrace such challenges, not to court popularity. Any charitable organisation is naturally concerned about how it is perceived. Costly involvement can result in costly loss of support. Misunderstandings and deliberate misrepresentations are always waiting to complicate matters. Jesus had to encounter all these things. We follow his lead and example. Jesus taught his disciples that love is costly and emphasized it within the context of discipleship. You can look to Luke chapter 9 verses 23 to 25 and then 57 to 62 for an example. Significantly, the disciples would have observed love's cost in Jesus consistently as day succeeded day, and supremely on the night of the crucifixion when Jesus was heard praying forgiveness for those who had been party to his murder. Such love is difficult to emulate. We marvel at its strength, resolve, and utter determination to see things through. We feel inadequate in comparison and can only persevere with costly love by gaining strength from our relationship with Jesus. The fact is that the unloved, whom salvation is pledged to help, can also be unloving. People in need may be uncooperative, cynical, critical, and generally off-putting. There are usually reasons why. Their needs are not met, or their lives transformed, without the pain of costly love. It isn't difficult to see that the world has great needs today and still requires costly compassion. Yet those in most need rarely receive the attention that they warrant. Some cultures still look down on the poor, while many who have the means to help see no reason to become involved. They have little regard for, and possibly little understanding of, those with desperate challenges. Cheap solutions and quick fixes, sometimes combined with token expressions of support, are offered but rarely deal with the heart of the problem. There is no substitute for costly compassion, but costly compassion is costly. It takes effort, time, energy, often some sacrifice, all needing to be delivered with love in its most practical form, and sometimes not even appreciated. Paul urged the Corinthians not to become weary of doing good, because compassion fatigue is always a possibility. Jesus kept a wise balance between intentional caring activity and rest and renewal, and recommended the same for us. Another temptation for any caring organisation, something it is all too easy to give into unwittingly, is to arrange its procedures and administration to suit its own needs and working practices, rather than design them for the benefit of those it seeks to love. The system, as devised, then becomes another hurdle, discouraging those who might need its help. It poses real problems for those who long for simplicity and understanding, often with administrators being unaware of the difficulties that have been created. Our call is to defend the defenseless, advocate justice, express generosity, and rescue the lost. The closer we follow Jesus, the more we will reflect his mission to those who are marginalised, excluded, or overlooked. Cain asked God, "Am I my brother's keeper?" The responsible answer is yes. Some phrases to reflect upon. When we accept the call to follow Jesus Christ, we are aligning ourselves with the clearest example of costly compassion. People in need may be uncooperative, cynical, critical, and generally off-putting. There are usually reasons why. Cheap solutions and quick fixes, sometimes combined with token expressions of support, rarely deal with the heart of the problem. Our call is to defend the defenseless, advocate justice, express generosity, and rescue the lost. The closer we follow Jesus, the more we will reflect his mission to those who are marginalised, excluded, and overlooked. Amen. And I will see you next week.